on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and this is a Samsung Vibrant with T-Mobile. It's one of two Galaxy S devices available on nationwide carriers right now, the Vibrant with T-Mobile and the Captivate with AT&T. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was at the Galaxy S launch event in New York City where they announced those two, as well as the Fascinate for Verizon and the Epic 4G for Sprint. So very similar in terms of underpinnings. Android 2.1 with Samsung's TouchWiz UI, all using Super AMOLED displays, and all running 1 gigahertz Hummingbird processor. So very similar in that regard. Design-wise, a little bit different depending on which one you were looking at. I think, as I said in one of the videos, I think the Vibrant does the best job of preserving the original Galaxy S look with the curved edges, as you can see, and the bottom, and then the little lip on the back bottom as well. So does a good job of preserving the original European Galaxy S unlocked model. So if you like that model, in terms of design, this is the one to get. But first impressions, very pleased with the device. It runs a 1 gigahertz Hummingbird processor, as I said, so very speedy on that front. Android 2.1 with a TouchWiz UI, which we'll get more into the software as we start the review. 16 gigabytes of onboard storage. So one frustration I've always had with Android 2.1 is, without any sort of hacks, you can't store programs to the SD card. So once you run out of built-in memory, you're kind of stuck. The nice thing about this, 16 gigabytes of onboard memory, so you never have to worry about that. So it kind of has an iPhone feel in that regard, where there's a bunch of onboard memory. You don't have to worry about how many apps you have, or if you're going to have to delete apps as time goes on. So that's nice there as well. 4-inch Super AMOLED display with 480 by 800 pixels, 16.7 million colors, and I'll show you that more in depth in a few minutes, but the screen is awesome, and it's a nice balance between the 3.7-inch Droid Incredible type devices and the 4.3-inch Evo Droid X type devices. So it strikes a healthy balance in between the two. Feels good in the hand, and in terms of build quality, you're going to fall into one of two camps. Either it's going to feel cheap and plasticky to you when you first pick it up, or it's going to feel lightweight and awesome. It is a bit more plasticky feeling than any other Android device I've used. That being said, it's very well constructed. In the first couple of days I used it, I thought, this is kind of plasticky. I'd like to go back to, a Nexus 1 or an iPhone 4 or something that's built with metal or with glass or with something a little bit different. But after a couple of days of use, I found that it feels good in the hand, and even when I'm applying, force death grip, even when I'm applying force to the sides or, holding it like I would with a call, there's no squeaking in terms of the plastic. It's very well built, very well constructed, and any way I hold it, I don't feel any sort of give with the plastic. So actually after a couple of days, I became very fond of it. It feels good in the pocket. It's very lightweight, so you don't feel it, even though a nice big 4-inch device. So you get the best of both worlds, and I found myself after 5 or 6 days thinking, I really like this thin and light thing. It's awesome. So my advice to you, if it does feel cheap to you when you first feel it, take it home for a couple of days. Play with it, see what you think, put it in the pocket, walk around with it, and you may be convinced after 5 or 6 days otherwise. So enough of that. Galaxy S, T-Mobile, Vibrant, part of the Galaxy S line. Coming up now. So here's a Samsung Vibrant, and if you didn't catch the unboxing video, I'll walk through some of the specs pretty quickly here. It's a 4-inch Super AMOLED display with 480 by 800 pixels and offers 16.7 million colors. So video really doesn't do it justice. The picture is absolutely beautiful. Colors are very rich, very crisp, and it's an absolutely wonderful display. So 1 gigahertz processor, 16 gigabytes of onboard memory, Android 2.1, which as you can see is customized with Samsung. It's a version of TouchWiz UI. It's not what you would expect like you've seen in some of the Samsung feature phones, but it's still branded TouchWiz, and it's a little bit different than stock Android 2.1. You have your power button on the right side, your volume rocker on the left, a little hump on the bottom with the microphones down there, of course, but a little hump on the bottom, so interesting little design thing there. 5 megapixel camera on the back without a flash and speaker. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. One thing I love in terms of design about this device is the way the micro USB port is designed. Instead of, if you remember several smartphones we've reviewed, you have to pull back the USB cover, and it gets frustrating, and you think to yourself after 6 months or a year, is this thing still going to be there? This is a sliding door, which I absolutely love. Undo, hook, reveals the micro USB port when you're done, slide it back, and you're back in business. So much more stable to me, much more reliable in terms of build quality. Don't have to worry about 6 months or a year down the road. Not having a USB port cover, so nice there as well. Bottom, 4 typical buttons you would see on an Android device: menu, home, back, and search, all capacitive touchscreen buttons. The Vibrant runs Android 2.1, but as you can see, it's not vanilla Android. It's Samsung's TouchWiz user interface that's installed over Android 2.1. And I was skeptical at first. I thought I wasn't going to like it, but again, after a couple of days, I got used to it and actually enjoyed some of the customization options that it offered. You'll see out of the box, it has 7 home screens that you can customize. And one really neat thing about that is you can actually edit the home screens. So nice new features, nice different feature that you don't see in some of the custom Android user interface builds. If you don't want 7 screens, you can delete one, you can move it around. So if I want this one in between those two, I can do that. And when I back out, you'll see that I now have 6, because I deleted that other one, and the feeds and updates moved from the left side of the battery widget to the right. So some nice customization options there as well. So you can see the menu's a little bit different. Instead of having the straight scroll up, scroll down like you would expect from Android, you actually scroll from the left to the right, and the icons are boxed in the box format. So a couple different customizations there. You can view the type by customizable grid, meaning that you can customize them any way you want to. You can view them in alphabetical order, or you can do an alphabetical list, and it shows up like that. Customizable grid. View type, alphabetical grid. And you can see T-Mobile pre-installs quite a bit on the Vibrant. Avatar, the full movie, no previews. The full movie Avatar is installed on here. A couple different little benefits, all share, along with some programs you'll see I've installed: CBS, Fandango, those type of things. Mobi TV, T-Mobile's My Account, My Device, Visual Voicemail, and The Sims 3. So you get some nice media-centric applications out of the box. And who can complain? You get a full, 2, almost 3-hour movie included for free. So believe me, I've spent some time watching that. So that's very cool. We'll get to that in a minute. But a couple different neat widgets. My favorite is what's called the Feeds and Updates widget, which aggregates all of your social networking. I don't use Facebook, but if I did, I could put that in here. Right now, my Twitter feed is what's showing up here, with the option to update from the program. So I've got a status update. I'll say hello. On Twitter, everybody's going to write back and say hello, 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 hi, how are you? So very funny there. Messaging, you'll notice that some of the things in the Vibrant are very similar to the iPhone, like messaging. You'll notice immediately the bubble type conversations, and I can compose a message. Now, there are 3 keyboards that come installed on the Vibrant. The stock Android keyboard is what I prefer to use, but there are actually 2 others. The Samsung keypad, which is surprisingly good. I am a big fan of HTC's Sense UI keyboard, and then for my second favorite, I prefer Android. And the Samsung one wasn't bad. I'll show it to you. That's it there. We'll say. Jumped over the lazy cat. I'm going to mix it up like that because I can. So you notice that there. Swipe is available as well. So if Swipe is your thing, which I like Swipe a lot. I haven't gotten used to using it on a daily basis yet, but it's pre-installed as well. So you can see I'm absolutely terrible at it. So I will stop there. But that's pre-installed as well. So one thing that's nice, the contact list isn't your stock, standard contact list. You have that, and you can see some design changes there as a result of the TouchWiz, colors like blue and such. But you can also organize by groups. You can see history. So you can see that text message I sent earlier, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy cat. And you can see updates as well, which if you had Facebook, Twitter, MySpace installed and activated, you could see updates from your friends that are in your contacts list there as well. So some nice things in TouchWiz that you don't see in vanilla Android.